Oh, splendid. More fodder for the mountain. I suppose that means we're gonna make another attempt to reach that wretched summit. Go present yourself to my lady. She should be on her way down the trail any moment now. This is Sorrow. Apt name, don't you think? The House of ORSINIUM Glories in ORSINIUM engaged my lady's services to find the shrine of Torag Groigron. It supposedly waits at the snowy top. No one's attempted to climb it in years, yet here we are. Only if you consider vile beasts, freezing winds, and falling ice to be a problem. We tried to climb the mountain 3 times now, and each failure was more spectacular than the last. If you're interested, Lady Laurent could really use the help. This expedition has really proved to be more troublesome than Lady Laurent anticipated. I hate to say it, but I think this time Sorrow might be more than she bargained for. Famous treasure hunter. I'm sure you've heard of her. We travel the land searching for hidden treasures, secret relics, and other mystical things. I'm not at liberty to tell you much about our work, but it's very important. The House of ORSINIUM Glories. It's ORSINIUM's fledgling museum. They hired experts like my lady to scour the countryside for ancient relics related to Hrothgar's history, to display them. Instant culture for the tourists, you see. Legends claim that a powerful relic was buried with ORSINIUM's founder. At Torag's shrine, my lady hopes to find the armlet of Torag, the bracelet that gave him the power to tame the wilderness. Now, if only Karsten would stop arguing with her. Karsten works for the museum and has been serving as our liaison and cultural expert. It has become clear that he and my lady disagree about a great many things. He's really beginning to try Lady Laurent's patience, I'm afraid to say.
Damn you, Karsten! How am I supposed to make a great discovery when you... Oh, hello! Are you at the House of Gory Details? The Glorious Orcs? Oh, you know what I mean. The Orc Museum! Have you brought the extra help I requested? Just you? Well, I was hoping for porters and guides and all, but I suppose that I can make do. I'll need to make a few slight adjustments to my plan, but this time we'll reach the Summit of Sorrow, I'm sure of it. The last 3 times, you mean? We set up one camp, but the harpies in the icy wind cut us down each time we climbed higher. A few orcs even wandered into a chasm because they couldn't see more than 2 paces ahead in the fog. Oh, it all upset me so. To start, head up and present yourself to Karsten while I go check on my lazy manservant Stibbons. We'll meet you up there. And remind Karsten who it is that's actually in charge of this expedition. He can be so uncooperative at times. Why are you still here? Do you need directions or something? We're not just talking about any dead orc. This is Torag's shrine. Not only was he the founder of the original city of ORSINIUM, but he was the owner of the armlet of Torag. Do you know how high my reputation will soar once I recover that relic? According to a scroll fragment I studied, the armlet of Torug is a magical bracelet encrusted with gems. With its power, Torug was able to tame the savage wilderness. It allowed the ancient orcs to establish the first city of Orsinium. The museum in Orsinium has it on display. It only contains a few words in the ancient orc tongue, but I was able to make some sense out of it. It talked about the armlet, the shrine, and something called Sorrow's Kiss. Oh, doesn't that sound romantic?
Who in the name of Malakath's third tusk are you? Don't you know this is sacred ground? Besides, it's also one of the most dangerous places in all of Hrothgar. You shouldn't be wandering around up here. Oh, she did she? I hope you know what you're getting into. Harpies and ogres are bad enough, but the true challenge of Sorrow is the mountain itself. The wind cuts like a sword, and the freezing mist blinds you. But that's not the worst. Avalanches! Sorrow wields her snow and ice with terrible precision. I've seen strong orcs swept right off the side like scoring a slaughter in 7-pick knockdown. We tried 3 times and lost most of our expedition. We're all that's left. To be honest, I'm not sure. We barely made it this far before we got separated from the others. If you could look for our companions, that would be helpful. Regardless, we have to find Torug's shrine or all these sacrifices will be for nothing. The good orcs, each and every one of them. Expert climbers. But Sorrow isn't an ordinary mountain. Best way to find them? They should have placed markers to indicate avalanche areas. Just follow the markers. Sorrow may not be the tallest mountain in Tamriel, but it's certainly one of the deadliest. That's why the ancient orcs built memorials to their champions on its slopes. The higher the location of the tomb, the greater the sacrifice and prestige. We're looking for the shrine of the great orc hero Torug Groegron. Legend says that Torug's shrine sits at the very top of the mountain as befits the founder of the original Orsinium. But it's so high up that nothing can survive there. Extremely. We've already tried to get up there 3 times. We lost the rest of the expedition and had to turn back before we barely got out of the base camp. But the danger will be worth it if we could find Torug's legendary relics. I work for ORSINIUM's newly established museum. I'm their resident expert on the time of Torug, so the museum sent me to assist Lady Laurent and her manservant. I always dreamed of visiting the shrine, so I jumped at the opportunity. Her reputation brought her to the attention of the museum, and she loves digging around in old tombs. She has a particular interest in an ancient fragment that talks about Sorrow's Kiss. She believes it has something to do with Torug's shrine. At first we got along fine. We both love history and exploring ancient sites. But the woman has been driving me crazy. She lacks the fundamental reverence for the past that separates a scholar from a grave robber. I just don't trust her judgment.
Stivets, don't you dare put down that firewood. It won't do us any good if it gets wet.
You make a sound point, milady.
I knew this mountain was going to be the death of us. No, don't waste your time. I'm done for. An avalanche broke both my legs, but I no longer feel any pain. Sorrow is a harsh mistress, and her embrace is cold and deadly. The others, they went on ahead to seek shelter. Don't look so shocked. I'm dying. If they tried to help me, none of us would have survived. Go. Find them. They need your help. More than I...
dead just as I thought. Wait, what's this? Most of the monuments up here are inscribed with 3-stanza epitaphs. It was a common practice. This rubbing appears to be Tarug's first stanza. It's written in Old Orcish, proclaiming the memorial's inaccessibility. They found Tarug's shrine! Well, obviously they found the shrine higher up on the mountain. As to why they came here to die, I have no idea. Maybe the cold or a lack of supplies drove them down. Or they were coming back to meet us. Let us know that they reached the shrine. Let me translate this rubbing. No looters, no lesser orcs. Remarkable. We should try to find the other 2 stanzas. If I can read the entire epitaph, it might point us to the location of the armlet of Torug. After that, we'll see.
Those poor orcs. Stibbins, be a dear and bury them.
Don't be ridiculous. They died well. Leave them where they fell.
Leave them? Out in the open? How barbaric.
Orcs don't bury their dead. And these are the first orcs to rest on sorrow in generations. We won't steal that honor from them.
Fine. You are the expert, after all.
Another stanza. Incredible. Toruk took the armlet to the very summit. But this word...
Come now, Stibbons. Keep up.
Right behind you, milady, as always.
This cold is unbearable. Stibbons, the firewood.
A fire! Splendid idea! I'll just... Oh, my!
This is Toruk's shrine. Where's his body?
Milady, you need to see this.
Build the fire. I need more light. What are you going on about, Stibbons? Can't you see I'm trying to... I said strategic.
I think they found the third stanza, milady.
Quiet, Stibbons. There might still be ogres about. Quickly, Karsten. What does it say?
Let me take a look. Toruk wasn't pleased that they built his shrine below the summit. He wanted to rest at the top.
Does it say anything about the armlet of Toruk?
He carried it to the summit. It says he laid Sorrow's kiss upon it. Yes, Zugka. I'm certain it's kiss.
Sorrow's kiss? The same phrase from the fragment. Doesn't that sound so romantic, Stibbons?
Very sentimental, milady. But are you sure that doesn't say Zugra?
Now, Stibbons, really, leave the translating to the experts. In the meantime, I must speak to our friend. Isn't this wonderful news? To protect his own tomb from looters and to ensure his legend among his people, Toruk climbed to the summit, and he took his relics with him. Now, be a dear and go up there and retrieve the armlet of Toruk for me. Ugh, haven't we been over this? I swear, sometimes I think you hear one word I say out of every 3. You're almost as bad as my manservant Stibbons. Of course! It's written in stone. The ancients never lied when they were chiseling words into stone, you know. The new museum will be the wonder of Tamriel with such a relic as the armlet of Toruk in its collection. Hyperbole to keep undesirables from venturing up. And even if there's some modicum of truth to the tale, all you need to do is grab the armlet. Easy as eating a sweet roll. Now, the thin air might make you lightheaded, but you can handle that. I don't agree with Karsten about many of his orcish ideas, but on this point, we're in perfect alignment. The proper translation is Sorrow's kiss. Now go and get the armlet while we see what other relics we can acquire for the museum. friends have returned to their senses. Oh, I told you they weren't dead, Stibbins.
And look, that must be the armlet of Torog. I refuse to let you go through with your plan, Lady Laurent.
Really, Karsten, not that again. We clearly have more to discuss. Stibbins, see to our friends.
You missed all the drama while you were unconscious. Lady Laurent and our helpful orc had a dreadfully intense argument about the armlet of Torog. Oh, it was wonderful to watch. It's the thin air up here, but whatever you did made the weather calm down, so we followed you up. That's when Karsten and Lady Laurent started arguing. Karsten thinks the shrine would be a better location to display the armlet than the museum. Oh, most indubitably. The museum hired her to acquire relics, and she hates to disappoint. Perhaps you could talk to them, help them reach a decision that gets us someplace warm. You better let me hold on to the armlet, just to be on the safe side.
I don't know what's gotten into Karsten. Why would anyone want to climb all the way up to the shrine to see an ancient relic when there's a perfectly quaint museum down in ORSINIUM? I would say so. The museum specifically tasked us to retrieve relics and bring them to ORSINIUM. History is meant to be admired, not left hidden in the past. Karsten's plan means I will have failed in my mission, and Lady Laurent never fails. If you insist. But please don't take too long. All this cold is doing terrible things to my poor chafed lips.
I'm glad you recovered the armlet of Torog. But before you decide what to do with the relic, you need to hear what I have to say. So it would seem. This shrine stands as a tribute to our past glories. It reveals an age when orcs thought nothing of sacrificing dozens of warriors to build memorials to our strength. It sets the kind of example that the new ORSINIUM needs. The armlet of Torog should remain in his shrine. Make sure every orc climbs sorrow to see it, to understand what our ancestors were capable of achieving. In this way, the relic will become a symbol to bind our people together. Surely you can see that. Of course. Sorry I got all emotional. You climbed the summit, you found the relic. You should be the one to decide what happens to it next. Just be careful.
I don't know what's gotten into Karsten. Why would anyone want to climb all the way up to the shrine to see an ancient relic when there's a perfectly quaint museum down in ORSINIUM? I would say so. The museum specifically tasked us to retrieve relics and bring them to ORSINIUM. History is meant to be admired, not left hidden in the past. Karsten's plan means I will have failed in my mission, and Lady Laurent never fails. I knew I could count on you. Soon every orc will be able to gaze upon this important relic in the comfort of ORSINIUM's museum. But first, I need to see what this wonder actually does. Oh, Stibbins, be a dear and try it on, please. A little faster, Stibbins. I'm anxious to see what the relic actually does.
But, my lady, what if I'm not worthy?
Nonsense. We're not afraid of legends and superstitions, are we?
No, my lady. Of course not. Well, here goes nothing.
Oh, Stibbins. What did you do this time?
Maybe your manservant was right. Maybe it does say Sorrow's curse.
Stibbins always finds a way to turn the simplest task into an ordeal. Ugh, I don't know why I continue to employ the man. The armlet of Torog will receive a place of honor in the ORSINIUM Museum. I believe that a prominent sign that says, "Do not touch," or "You are not worthy," would also be prudent. Now, someone at the Mages Guild will be able to help me thaw out poor Stibbins. It may take weeks for him to warm up, but he'll be fine. But you should be pleased. The orcs will sing my praises, and they're sure to say nice things about you as well. Give me a moment, and I'll open a portal back to our base camp.
A portal? So why did we have to make that harrowing climb?
Teleportation is a delicate business. I can't just open a portal to some place I've never seen. Careful! Don't crack my manservant! Honestly, you orcs approach everything like you're going to war.
Perhaps you'd like to carry him, Your Majesty.
You can't lock us out of our inn. That's tyrannical!
You should have thought about that before you helped the enemies of our king. Now get out of my way before I toss you in a cell too.
Open for business.
The Relic Hunter returns. Tell me, was your search for Uzdabik's helm successful? There's a display case just waiting to be filled. So it really does exist. Sometimes you never know when you're dealing with myth and legend. Could I trouble you to take it downstairs and place it in its display? In the meantime, I'll find that list of relics I mentioned the last time we spoke. You mean as curator? That's an interesting story. I guess you could say that I'm a city orc. Born and raised in Wayrest, educated at the finest Breton academies. King Kurog and I met during his travels, and when he offered me this museum, I said yes. Oh, you mean the clan tattoo? Yes, well, I guess you could say that was a gift of sorts. I toured the various clan strongholds when I first arrived, and Chief Bosrog of the Faerun clan insisted that I allow his wise woman to mark me. The king wants to preserve and display the culture and history of this land. He believes that a museum is an integral component in the rebuilding of Orsinium and the establishment of the Orsimer Kingdom, and I heartily agree. It's so nice to have a little help around here. Thanks for finding that historic treasure and setting it on its display. But this is only the beginning. The wilds of Hrothgar are brimming with all sorts of important antiquities. Indubitably, you've got a talent for relic hunting, and I'd be remiss if I didn't take advantage of that. Here's a list of the relics I believe await us in the wilds of Hrothgar. Find them, bring them here, and the museum will reward you handsomely. Remember to check the list. We have very specific needs here at the House of Orsimer Glories. Distinctive portions of history that we want to put on display.
There is some fascinating architecture here. Amazing! I hate this place. Nothing but dry bread and old turds to eat.
You bear the vengeful eye. I knew, because as soon as I saw you, Malakath whispered that I should kill you where you stand. Clearly a sign. Of course. Its curse of vengeance has waned. It can be freely given, and need not be won through battle. Shameful. Shameful. A great service to Malakath. He shall not forget. He never forgets. And now his eye is upon you. Do great works of vengeance in his name. Walk with Malakath's vengeance in your step. May your enemies crumble in your wake. The stories say it was given to Malakath's champions as a sign of his favor. Only the strongest wore it, and passed it to whomever could slay the bearer. It is not. All that matters is what the vengeful eye represents. Malakath demands strength, despises weakness. The relic is a symbol for his followers, a holy mandate. This is why the Winterborn must never recover it. A great warrior from the Reach was said to wear it last. It's why the Winterborn scrape and paw in the catacombs. They claim Malakath demanded their ancestors' service, that they have honored the Prince of Vengeance ever since. We are Malakath's children. He tempers us in Nirn's forge, beating us against the anvil of Hrothgar. He bears no love for the Winterborn. Malakath whispers to them so they may inflict themselves upon us, so we may prove ourselves the stronger metal.
can't lock us out of our inn. That's tyrannical.
You should have thought about that before you helped the enemies of our king. Now get out of my way before I toss you in a cell too.
How infuriating! I don't even like the place that much, but I'll be damned if I let them toss me out of my own inn. The closer the city gets to completion, the worse things get for us common folk. Orsimer soldiers barged into our inn and kicked us out. Now they won't let anyone back in. They decided to detain some of our patrons, including your friends. In fact, the little wood elf showed up right before the soldiers did. The soldiers placed guards at all the exits, even the back one. Damned if I know how they found out about that. The soldiers won't let anyone in until they finish the king's work, whatever that is. Bunch of stiff boots, the lot of them. I should have known that hiding folks in our inn would eventually bite us in the arse. This is ridiculous, though. They sent an entire squad of soldiers to lock down one inn. You'd think we were the damn Winterborn or something. Haven't you and your friends caused us enough trouble already? Alright. If you get me my inn back, I'll try to forget that any of this ever happened. So, how can I help? Never seen her before. I make it a habit to get to know all of the guards and soldiers who come to the inn to unwind. From the look on her face, she hasn't unwound since the king was a cub tied to the Forge Mother's apron. What? You looking to court her or something? If you're so enthralled by Captain What's-Her-Name, I heard her tell a soldier she'd be by the ramparts near the stables. But she's a cold fish, mark my words. You'd do better fishing in a different pond. That was the first thing they confiscated. It was Sergeant Vulmon. I know him, he's one of our regulars. Usually friendly, leaves an extra gold piece now and again. He's stationed near the King's Corner Club, but he won't give up that key. That's between you and him. I'll have no part in that. I'm no criminal despite how all this looks.
What? Why does this keep happening?
The orcs smell, the Nords are rude, and the Bretons... Gods, don't get me started. So Filgor poisoned his own brother, and he expects the Nords to follow him. He's my foolish.
You're a little late. They just left me here to die. I was running messages for the cute wood elf and the grumpy orc. When I returned, the soldiers rushed in, stabbed me. They never saw it coming. The soldiers grabbed the orc chief and the elf, took them away by the order of the king. I guess I was just in the way.
What was I thinking coming here? I never should have left.
Ah, my favorite problem handler has returned. Have you come to see what you accomplished? Thanks to you, the clan chiefs have gathered to hear what I have to say. This is going to be a moot that all of Hrothgar won't soon forget. That sounds serious, but this is a time for celebration. The next age of the Orsimer people begins today. You dare to question my actions? To imply that I don't have the best interests of my people in mind? If you must know, we received word of the location of the traitors. I send my soldiers to capture them for interrogation. What? How dare you spread such false accusations? Has Basrat filled your head with more of his Malakath lies? I won't hear such things. Not on the verge of my greatest victory. More questions? You're beginning to try my patience. But let's not talk about such matters in front of the clan chiefs. Meet me down in the dining hall and we can continue this discussion in private.
I hear the footsteps of an outsider. Come, we need to talk. Ah, outsider. You never cease to surprise me. I suppose your recent adventures were somewhat trying. Of course, sticking your tusks where they don't belong usually leads to trouble, doesn't it? So proud, so sure. So certain that you do the right thing. But you defy the will of Trinumak and try to stop the inevitable by warning my son. In short, you have begun to annoy me. The Vashrak do exactly what they've been ordered to do. They will eliminate every obstacle that threatens my son. It's time to remove the clan chiefs so that Orsimer unification can begin. This is about survival. Surely you can understand that. No. We're done here. You think you know so much, but you're just grasping at straws. The plan proceeds and you can't stop it. The Orsimer will rally as one under the banner of King Kurog. I have foreseen it. Let it be known, the outsider who stands before us has betrayed our great city. For your actions, I condemn you and your allies to death. A sentence you shall execute by your own hand. May PRENUMERERA guide your blade.
I'm sorry it had to come to this. But what I do for the good of the Orsimer people.
Awake? Good. It's about time. I would have been disappointed if you died after I dragged you down here. You learn a lot about healing when you're King Korog's shield wife. Looks like my skills apply to outsiders as well. But we've wasted enough time. You need to get moving. I admit I never trusted you. But you've helped our people. You deserve better than to fall to the Forge Mother. I dragged you back here before the Voshrock arrived, healed you as best I could. Now get out of here before the soldiers find you. My beloved does what he must to unite our people. You know this is true. You've seen it. The clan chiefs refuse to listen. If Korog fails, the Orsimer will never be anything more than the abused and scorned wretches the other races imagine us to be. The chiefs have already headed to the Moot, and Voshrock guard the keep. If you want to survive, you have to leave now. I don't want to fight you, but if you decide to go after the king, well, I am sworn to protect my beloved. I expected you'd say that. Take this. It will open the cells in the dungeon below the keep. Just take your friends far from this place, and let my beloved finish his mission to elevate our people. My beloved believes that this is the only way to accomplish his dream. As his shield wife, I will support him, just as I always have. No, he hoped that the chiefs would come to believe in his vision, to see the future he imagined just as he did. He never wanted it to come to this. But a king must always do the right thing for his people. Why would they do that? They'll see a king who fought the fanatical Voshrock, who tried desperately to save the chiefs against overwhelming odds. When the dust clears, they will love him and stand united beneath his banner for all the world to see. My beloved doesn't hate Basrag. They were friends once, almost brothers. If anything, he's disappointed in the chief. But Basrag challenges the king. He needs to be removed from the field of battle before he has a chance to disrupt the plan. It worked, didn't it? The chiefs have gathered for the moot, and everything proceeds as planned. As long as you take Basrag with you when you leave, there won't be any reason for more bloodshed. He served his purpose, just like you. Korog is my beloved, and I swore an oath to support and protect him. Besides, I believe in the king's dream. I believe in a united Orsimer nation. It's the best way for us to take our place as equals among the other races. Oh, the clan chiefs are far from innocent, and their deaths will serve a higher purpose. They represent a worthy sacrifice. Now, take your friends and go. This isn't your concern any longer. Let my beloved finish what he began. Please,